Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back. And as I'd have said at the end of the last episode, that's the engine bay bit finished. There is one final check we got to do though, and this is a real fingers crossed. So it's been run up a few times now, hot and cold. Does it leak oil? So I've had a pan under there overnight. Let's have a look. If it does, I'm going to be gutted. Ah, superb. I do not like a Mini that leaks oil. Obviously that'll be all right for about 1,000 miles, then the gear shift oil seal will start leaking, then a few thousand miles later the drive shaft seals are leaking, but it doesn't leak at the moment. Right, next job. So let's get the back end up in the air. I've got to deal with a seized brake on the offside rear. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but let's get set up and see how we get on. Right then, so the problem we've got on this side, the brake is partially seized. So it does turn, but as you can see, it grabs quite a bit. It might just be over adjusted, but anyway, I've tried working the adjuster backwards and forwards, and the adjuster's seized as well. Tried a little bit of heat on it, doesn't make any difference. The problem is it makes it really difficult to get the drum off then. So what we're going to try, a couple of methods. The first one, obviously once you've got the wheel off, it's difficult to get the drum off because there's nowhere to lever really, and you've not got much to play with. So the first one I'm going to try and do is I'm going to take the wheel off initially, take the hubcap off, take the bearing castle nut off, put the wheel back on, and that will just give me a bit of extra leverage to be able to try and wiggle the drum off past the brakes. Let's give that a go. If that doesn't work, then I've got a plan B. I'll try and do this in real time as well. Hey, whole car's moving. It is on an axle stand the other side. So you'd normally take the drum off first, but we ain't going to do that. Can never remember which way is left-handed thread, which way is right-handed. Just try it. Right, so the problem I've got, unless I get in here and start bending the back plate trying to lever it out the way, I'm really going to struggle. Get it to move a bit. So anyway, we're going to put the wheel back on now. Now the bearing's loose, and hopefully that will give us a bit of leverage. Right, let's give it a go. Well, no, that hasn't really helped us. So I suspect that there's a lip on the inside of the drum which is holding the brakes on. So plan B, if I release a wheel cylinder at the bottom, that should allow, well, the wheel cylinder will come off with the shoes then. So let me give that a go. I'll probably speed this up because it's going to get a bit boring. So basically I'm going to undo the brake pipe for the wheel cylinder on the bottom. I'm going to undo the handbrake cable. I'm going to take off the circlip, take off the bleed nipple so it's all loose. So then hopefully when I try this next time it'll just all come off with the brakes as well. That's the plan. So I know sometimes you can sort of get in here and get a bit of leverage, but it's just not enough, I don't think. Maybe if I put the nut back on a few turns. No, it's definitely pulling the brakes with it. I might be able to persevere, I might be able to bang it around, knock it about, get the drum off like that, but ultimately I'm probably going to be doing the wheel cylinder anyway because I'm assuming that's probably going to be seized up as well. I might as well just release it off now and try and do it without having to fight it all the way. Right, so fingers crossed, that wheel cylinder's all loose at the back, the handbrake cable's out now. In theory, the wheel cylinders should just come out with the shoes, allowing me a little bit more movement. But let's give it a go. It's definitely looser than it was before. Get the bearing before it falls out onto the concrete. There we go. So yeah, exactly what I thought would happen, or that went to plan. So as I say, the wheel cylinder come forward and it just gives you a little bit more movement. Obviously on a Mini the brake shoes are positively locked in the bottom and in the top, so they fit in a groove in the bottom, they fit in a groove at the top. You've got to be able to de-adjust something. If you can't de-adjust the adjuster and the wheel cylinder seized, apart from wrecking the brakes themselves, I can't see how you do it. But we've got the drum off now. Nothing looks too untoward in there. Tell you what, those brake shoes, again, they look new. Look how clean they are. They're phenomenal. I'm wondering again
powering on
whether they've been used. They are obviously, they're a bit galled up now, just where I've wedged that drum off. So they're about £7-8 a set of brake shoes, so we'll do them. Wheel cylinder, if you want to see if it's seized, these pistons should turn. That's seized solid, both sides. But they don't look very old. I mean, look at that, still shiny metal. I would imagine they've been replaced, and it's been sitting there and not been used, but we'll have to replace them again. Let's just keep them all together, because it's really easy to get these shoes on the wrong way around, so we keep that as a reference. It should be, I will double check, but it should be, so that's the leading edge and there should be the gap there, so it looks right to me. So I've got to get a set of shoes and cylinders ordered up. I'll clean up this back plate. I mean, it's just surface rust. I need to get this adjuster free. I'll probably just take the back plate off because it's only a few more screws, and give that a bit of an overhaul. I missed that bit as well. Handbrake pivot, absolutely sea solid. So yeah, like I could have fought that for ages trying to get the drum off, but it's all got to come off anyway. So that's my little hint. If you've got to do this and you're doing the drums, or if you're doing the shoes and you're doing the wheel cylinder, it's all seized up like that, just unbolt the wheel cylinder. Makes it so much easier, it really does. That's both sides off now. So this is the side that was seized. I've had to take fully apart, and yeah, sure enough, the wheel cylinder's seized, the handbrake pivot's seized, the adjuster's seized, and I mean they're really seized as well, not just a little bit. And that method really just made it so much easier to do. No mucking around, no fighting with it. Just pop the circlip off the back, take the brake pipe off the back, bleed nipple out, handbrake cable off from the pivot, and then just wheel back on with a hub, and as you can see, it just pulled off really nicely, really easy to do, no fighting it, no hassle. The drums, there is a lip inside there, so that's what it was catching up on, that lip. The other side all come apart nicely. So this side isn't seized actually, everything's free on this side. Handbrake lever, the slave, the wheel cylinder. Look at the brakes though. They are like new. I don't reckon they've had much use at all, but I'm not going to reuse them. I could probably get away with it, but for the cost, in fact, look. So there you go. The friction material is a little bit damaged there where the drum come off, so ain't worth mucking around at for the price of a set of shoes. So I'll have rear shoes, rear cylinders, all of this lot, all refreshed. So it's a bit of a boring job, but you can rejoin me in a moment when this is all clean.